A lot of people think survival is about gear, stockpiles, or having the right tools. But the truth is much darker, and nobody ever talks about it. When things fall apart, it's not the strongest or the most armed who make it. It's the ones who understand the rules that aren't written anywhere. The rules people only learn after the worst day of their lives. Today, we're breaking down 50 silent survival rules that most people will never hear until it's already too late. Some of these rules go against everything you've been taught. Some of them will change the way you prep forever. And a few are the kind of lessons people only learn once. If you think you already know how to survive a real crisis, keep watching. By the time we hit Rule 3, you'll realize how unprepared most people really are, and why these 50 rules might be the only reason you make it through. Number 1. Stay quiet on what you prep. Most beginners think prepping is about showing off shelves of food buckets, shiny gear, and tactical tools. But the smartest survivalists keep their mouths shut. The moment people know you store food and supplies, you turn into their backup plan during a crisis. Friends, neighbors, even co-workers might laugh at prepping now, but in a real emergency, they'll remember exactly who always had extra stuff. Being discreet protects your resources, your home, and your family. Keep your preps where visitors can't casually see them, and never brag online. Silence is your strongest shield long before any disaster hits. Number 2. Learn to notice the small signals. Major crises rarely explode instantly. They build through little signs. Empty store shelves on random weekdays, supply trucks arriving late, sudden price spikes in basic goods, unusual government warnings, strange weather patterns, or even subtle community tension. Paying attention to these tiny hints gives you early warning most people miss. Survival often comes down to noticing what others ignore. When everyone else realizes something is wrong, you want to already be ahead of them, stocked up and safe. Number 3. Know your first 10 moves by heart. In a crisis, panic destroys more people than the event itself. Having a rehearsed set of first steps keeps you calm. These include checking your water supply, securing doors and windows, communicating with your family, filling bathtubs with water, charging devices while power still works, grabbing your essentials-only bag, and deciding whether you're bugging in or bugging out. These moves should be muscle memory so you don't freeze or lose precious minutes. Number 4. Keep your gear as low profile as possible. Flashy tactical backpacks, molly straps, military patches, all of that screams, "I'm prepared." And prepared people become targets. Choose neutral-colored bags, everyday clothing, and gear that blends into normal life. A simple gray backpack can hide thousands of dollars of survival gear without attracting a single curious glance. Number 5. Have water redundancy, not just water storage. Stored water runs out fast, and bottles take huge space. What matters more is your ability to find, filter, and purify water anywhere. That means multiple purification methods, containers you can carry comfortably, and knowledge of local water sources. The person who can make dirty water drinkable will always outlast the person with shelves of bottled water. Number 6. Rotate your food like a pro. Prepping isn't about hoarding cans until they rust. It's about creating a system where your stored food gets eaten and replaced regularly. This keeps everything fresh, prevents waste, and ensures your body stays used to the foods you'll rely on in a crisis. A rotating pantry also lets you track what you actually eat, instead of what you think you might eat someday. Number 7. Replace convenience with skills. Most modern people rely on conveniences: microwaves, GPS, grocery deliveries, instant information online. Prepping flips that dependency. Learn to cook simple meals from basic ingredients. Learn to navigate without a phone. Learn to fix broken items instead of tossing them. Skills reduce panic, reduce waste, and massively extend your resources. Number 8. Always have a darkness plan. When power goes out, panic hits fast. You need ways to move, cook, wash dishes, use the restroom, and manage nighttime without electricity drawing attention. Keep low-light sources that don't shine like a beacon. Use blackout curtains. Practice living without overhead lights for a weekend. Removing just one vulnerability, darkness, makes you far calmer during emergencies. Number 9. Know your neighborhood better than anyone. Survival isn't about maps of the whole state. It's about knowing your immediate surroundings. Which routes flood, where people gather during stress, which streets have heavy trees that could block cars, which stores restock the fastest, where hidden water sources exist, and which houses appear abandoned. Your local environment is your battlefield, resource zone, and escape route all in one. Number 10. Understand the 48-hour human shift. People change dramatically after 2 days without stability. The first day is confusion. The second is discomfort. By day 3, desperation grows. Knowing this timeline lets you plan when to move, when to stay hidden, and when to expect trouble to escalate. Adjust your actions based on where people's minds will be, not where they are now. Number 11. Never use all your strength at once. Preppers often imagine themselves working non-stop, chopping wood, building shelters, carrying heavy loads. But survival is about conserving energy. Move slowly, lift only what you must, avoid unnecessary tasks, and rest more than you think you should. A tired survivor is a careless survivor, and carelessness costs resources. Number 12. Keep tools. Simple and durable. A tool that requires electricity, fuel, batteries, or fragile parts will eventually fail you. The best gear is low-tech, manual can openers, hand-powered radios, multi-tools, simple stove systems, sturdy shoes, wool clothing. The fewer points of failure, the longer you stay functional. Number 13. Build quiet cooking strategies. Cooking smells travel far. Smoke travels farther. Learn how to prepare meals with minimal scent, minimal light, and minimal noise. Cold meals, canned items, meal bars, and no-smoke methods are critical when you don't want to announce your dinner to the whole neighborhood. Number 14. Use 2 locations plus 1 secret storage. Don't keep everything in the same room. Don't even keep everything inside your house. Spread your supplies into your main storage, a secondary spot in another part of the home, a hidden cache outside, or in a discreet place. This protects you from theft, fire, and unexpected loss. Number 15. Keep clothing for every scenario. Survival clothing isn't about camouflage. It's about durability, insulation, layering, waterproofing, and quiet movement. You need clothes that keep you comfortable without drawing attention. Think neutral jackets, comfortable pants, gloves that let you work, and shoes built for long walking. Number 16. Practice using your gear before you need it. Owning tools doesn't equal knowing them. Practice filtering water, starting a low-smoke fire, building shelter, repairing clothing, purifying water without boiling, cooking without power, and cleaning without running water. Stress triples the difficulty of tasks you're doing for the first time. Number 17. Create a communication plan that works without phones. Phone networks fail fast during disasters. You need backup communication. Handwritten notes, meeting points, schedules, and basic radio use. Even knowing how to leave simple coded messages saves confusion and panic when everything goes silent. Number 18. Know when to hide and when to be seen. Sometimes visibility keeps you safe, like signaling for help or coordinating with trusted neighbors. But during chaos, visibility attracts trouble. Learn how to control your light, noise, and scent signature. Stay low profile when needed, but speak up or signal when it's safe. Number 19. Keep important documents ready to grab. You don't realize how essential documents are until you suddenly need them. ID, property papers, insurance, medical records, emergency contacts, prescriptions, passwords. Store them in waterproof envelopes and keep a digital copy on a secure offline device. Losing documents during a crisis makes everything harder. Number 20. Build mental endurance before disaster hits. Survival is 80% psychological. Hunger, fear, cold, boredom, darkness, noise, all of it wears you down. Train your mind to handle stress. Take walks in uncomfortable weather. Delay comfort. Reduce dependency on luxuries. practice patience. A mentally strong person with fewer supplies often outlasts a physically strong person with plenty of gear. Number 21. Hide your competence. One of the strangest truths about survival situations is that showing people you're skilled can make you a target. The more you demonstrate you know what you're doing, whether it's fixing a generator, purifying water correctly, navigating without GPS, or handling tools confidently, the more people start looking at you as a resource they can exploit. Some will latch onto you hoping you'll solve their problems. Others may try to dominate you or take from you. And the ones who become truly dangerous are those who feel threatened by your competence. Sometimes the safest move is letting others underestimate you. Appearing average, mildly confused, or quietly unsure prevents people from assigning responsibility to you or focusing on you. The less attention you draw to your abilities, the more freedom you have to operate in the background where it's safer, quieter, and less crowded. Competence should be revealed only when necessary, never advertised casually. Number 22. Cash is king until it isn't. People imagine that in a major crisis, money instantly becomes useless. But that's only partially true. During the first phase of any high-stress event, cash often becomes incredibly valuable because electronic systems fail, banks close, ATMs go down, and digital payments stop working. In that early window, people still value money because they expect the system to come back online eventually. But after a certain point, when it's clear recovery won't be fast, cash starts losing value fast. Supplies become a new currency. Food, water, medicine, fuel, batteries, hygiene products, basic tools. These become the real chips on the table. That's why the smartest preppers store cash and trade goods. Everything from instant coffee to lighters to antibiotic ointments can be worth 5 times more during a disaster than before it. The rule is simple. Cash helps early, supplies help later, and knowing when one ends and the other begins is a survival advantage. Number 23. Rotate before you stockpile more. A huge mistake beginner preppers make is buying massive amounts of supplies without rotating what they already have. Expired canned goods, stale grains, rancid oils, and degraded batteries create a false sense of security. You think you're prepared, but half your gear won't work when you need it. Rotation keeps your stockpile fresh and reliable. The system is incredibly simple. First in, first out. Every time you shop, replace what you used, not add more on top. This builds a sustainable cycle rather than a growing wall of forgotten supplies. It also prevents waste and saves money long term. A prepper who rotates intelligently is 10 times more prepared than someone with double the supplies sitting on shelves untouched for 5 years. Number 24. The fewer people who know your plans, the safer you are. There's a reason experienced preppers keep their strategies private. Information leaks happen casually. Someone overhears you discussing your bug-out location, sees your water barrels, or watches you load supplies into your vehicle. Even people you trust might mention your preparedness to others without realizing the risk. In a crisis, people become desperate, and desperate people remember things they normally wouldn't act on. Your supplies, tools, and knowledge represent survival. So limiting how much others know protects you from becoming the person everyone runs to. The fewer people aware of your capabilities, the more control you maintain over your safety. Number 25. Small injuries can become life-threatening. A tiny cut, a blister, a burned finger, or a sprained ankle seems insignificant today. But in a survival situation, without clean water or proper hygiene, small injuries quickly turn into infected wounds that drain your energy, limit your movement, and can become deadly. Your body becomes more vulnerable when stressed, dehydrated, or malnourished, making infections spread faster and hit harder. This is why maintaining basic health bandaging cuts, cleaning wounds, keeping feet dry, preventing blisters is critical. Most people underestimate how quickly minor injuries escalate when medical help isn't available. Prevention becomes your medicine. Cleanliness becomes your hospital. And caution becomes your doctor. Number 26. Your group is only as strong as its weakest link. If you prepare with family or friends, remember that each person's skills, mindset, and physical ability directly affect everyone else. One person's panic, stubbornness, poor decision-making, or lack of discipline can undo years of preparation. The slowest person slows the group. The loudest person endangers the group. The least cautious person attracts danger. The least knowledgeable person consumes the most resources. Survival is not democratic. Nature doesn't care about fairness. That's why teaching every group member essential skills, water treatment, basic medical care, how to cook without power, how to stay calm, makes the entire unit stronger. Your safety multiplies with shared competence and collapses with shared weakness. Number 27. Hunger makes people irrational. Hunger strips away logic, patience, and morality. When people haven't eaten properly for a day, they become irritated. After 2 days, they become fixated and desperate. After 3 days, they think only about survival. This is when reasoning fails and instinct takes over. Hunger-driven humans become unpredictable and sometimes aggressive, even when they're normally calm or kind. This doesn't just affect strangers. Your own family members may behave differently under starvation stress. Understanding this helps you avoid confrontations and recognize danger early. A hungry person is not the same person you knew yesterday. Food becomes not just fuel, but behavior control and peacekeeping. Number 28. Tools matter more than weapons. Many new preppers obsess over weapons, knives, rifles, ammo, tactical gear. But in reality, your most valuable items will be tools that help you live, not tools that help you fight. A good multi-tool can fix gear, repair clothing, open cans, strip wires, or cut rope. A handsaw can turn fallen branches into firewood. A shovel can dig latrines, build protective berms, create drainage, or bury waste. A sturdy pot can boil water, cook food, melt snow, sterilize tools. Survival isn't an action movie. Most of your day will be problem-solving, not fighting. A weapon helps for seconds. A tool helps for weeks. Number 29. Mental fatigue hits before physical fatigue. People imagine that in survival scenarios, their bodies give out first. But it's actually the mind that cracks before the muscles. Decision fatigue, fear, stress, overwhelming responsibility, isolation. These wear you down far faster than physical labor. Once your mind tires, you make mistakes. You forget simple tasks. You misjudge risks. You overlook dangers. And those mistakes compound quickly. That's why pacing your mind is as important as pacing your body. Rest your thoughts. Take pauses. Simplify decisions. Create small routines. Mental clarity keeps you alive longer than any physical strength ever will. Number 30. Comfort items. Keep morale alive. People overlook how important comfort is during a crisis. Something as small as a cup of instant coffee, a piece of chocolate, a warm blanket, a familiar scent, or a simple personal item can stabilize someone emotionally. Morale isn't a luxury, it's a survival tool. A person with hope lasts longer. A person with comfort makes better decisions. A group with morale works together instead of falling apart. That's why it's smart to store a few comfort items. They don't take much space, but they provide emotional fuel when stress hits hardest. Number 31. Clean water is more scarce than food. Most people assume food is the biggest scarcity in disaster situations. It's not. Water is harder to find, harder to store, harder to purify, and impossible to ration long-term. A person can go 3 weeks without food, but will suffer severe health decline in 3 days without water. And unlike food, water can become unsafe overnight. A flood contaminates wells. Power outages disable pumps. Broken pipes allow bacteria to thrive. A chemical spill upstream makes rivers unusable. That's why every survivalist treats water as the first priority, not the second or third. Food can wait. Water cannot. Number 32. You need less stuff but more skills. Beginner preppers often think survival is about stockpiling huge amounts of gear and supplies. But gear can be stolen, lost, broken, or forgotten. skills can't. A person who knows how to make fire 3 different ways is better equipped than someone with 5 lighters and no knowledge. Someone who knows how to find water naturally is safer than someone with water bottles that will eventually run out. Skills turn scarcity into opportunity. Gear turns opportunity into dependence. Skill-heavy preppers survive longer than gear-heavy preppers. Number 33, night is safer for movement, but deadlier for mistakes. Moving at night keeps you hidden from other people, animals, and potential threats. Darkness is a shield, but it's also dangerous. One misstep can lead to an injury that becomes a long-term problem. Traveling at night requires absolute patience, controlled movement, and a familiarity with the terrain. If you don't know the area well, night travel becomes riskier than staying put. This rule reminds you that stealth is a double-edged sword. Darkness can hide you, but it can also harm you. Number 34. Cold kills faster than hunger. Hypothermia doesn't just happen in freezing temperatures. It can happen in cool, wet, or windy conditions above 10 degrees C if your clothes are soaked and you're exhausted. Most people die from exposure, not starvation. A steady drop in body temperature slows your thinking, weakens your muscles, and causes confusion. The final stage of hypothermia creates a false sense of warmth that convinces people to undress. Staying dry, layered, and insulated is more important than having a large food supply. Hunger is slow. Cold is fast. Number 35. Never rely on a single heat source. Fires die. Fuel runs out. Stoves break. Batteries drain. If your warmth depends on one method, you're gambling with your life. You should always have multiple heat strategies: clothing layers, insulated shelter design, emergency blankets, body heat sharing, and fire-free heating tricks. A good survivalist can stay warm using 3 different methods even if their fire refuses to start. Redundancy keeps you alive. Number 36. Your stomach is not ready for survival food. Freeze-dried meals, high-fat ration bars, bulk rice and beans. These foods are great for long-term storage, but terrible on an unprepared stomach. If you switch from a modern diet straight to these emergency foods, expect cramps, diarrhea, bloating, or nausea. That's why you should test your survival meals in normal life. Learn how your body reacts. Figure out what you need to supplement. Practice cooking them. Don't wait until a crisis to discover you can't digest half your food supply. Number 37. Laundry matters more than fashion. Dirty clothes cause rashes, infections, and skin breakdown. Sweat-soaked shirts lower your body temperature. Filthy socks lead to foot injuries that can immobilize you. Clean clothing boosts morale and reduces disease risk. Even without soap, rinsing clothes in clean water, drying them in sunlight, and rotating garments improves your physical well-being. Survival isn't glamorous clean clothes become your armor. Number 38. Batteries die much faster in the cold. If you rely on flashlights, radios, or battery-powered gear, cold weather becomes your enemy. Batteries lose charge dramatically when temperatures drop. A radio that normally runs 20 hours may last only 5. A flashlight may dim when you need it most. Keeping batteries warm inside pockets, wrapped in cloth, stored close to your body, extends their life. Understanding this small detail can make the difference between communication and isolation, between light and total darkness. Number 39. Keep your hands protected at all times. Most survival tasks involve your hands building shelters, gathering wood, purifying water, preparing food, using tools. A cut, burn, or infection on your hand can disable you completely. Gloves are one of the most underrated survival items. Work gloves prevent cuts. Cold weather gloves prevent frostbite. Waterproof gloves prevent skin rot. Protecting your hands protects your ability to function. Without your hands, your survival chances collapse. Number 40. Waste management becomes the biggest hidden threat. Human waste, spoiled food, and garbage attract insects, rodents, and disease. In survival situations, poor waste handling causes outbreaks of illness far faster than lack of food. cholera, salmonella, stomach infections, and contaminated surfaces spread rapidly when sanitation breaks down. That's why establishing a waste system, burying organic waste, isolating trash, and keeping living areas clean is critical. Survival isn't just about obtaining resources. It's about managing what you discard. Number 41. The rule of energy mapping. The quiet truth people always miss is that survival isn't just about having supplies. It's about knowing exactly where your long-term energy is going to come from. Not energy like electricity, but the physical stamina of your body and the predictable sources of support around you. Think of it like mapping your personal ecosystem. Every chore, every movement, every daily necessity needs to be balanced against how much effort you can afford to spend. Normal life hides this cost because electricity, plumbing, food delivery, transportation, all of that offsets your physical load. But when all of that disappears, the real price of staying alive becomes the calories you burn. That's why people who look physically strong sometimes fail in long-term survival, while calm, methodical people make it. They understand their energy limits. They keep their tasks small, predictable, and not wasteful. They don't do unnecessary trips. They don't lift heavy loads alone. They don't turn every problem into a physical challenge. They pace themselves. And here's the catch most preppers never talk about. Your greatest energy leak is boredom. When people get bored, they wander. They tinker with things. They waste daylight. They double work. They burn energy fixing mistakes caused by impatience. In a crisis, you can't afford boredom. You schedule your day like a job. Tasks in the morning, quiet work in the afternoon, low energy observations in the evening, and full rest at night. Even just writing a simple task list helps you save energy that would otherwise drain away without you noticing. It's not glamorous, but it keeps you alive longer than any piece of gear in your bag. Number 42. Quiet strength over loud preparedness. There's a type of prepper who thinks volume equals preparedness. Massive gear, heavy tools, loud generators, visible supplies. But the longer you study real survival situations, the clearer it becomes that loudness in any form is a liability. Not just sound, but visual noise, behavioral noise, emotional noise. Quiet strength is the ability to operate calmly in chaos without announcing yourself. It's not hiding. It's choosing when to be noticeable and when not to be. Quiet strength is the person who knows how to fix things without creating a scene. The person who doesn't panic when plans shift. The person who moves slowly, speaks softly, organizes things without attracting attention, and keeps their emotional signals steady. During disasters, loud people attract loud problems. They draw arguments, crowds, suspicion, pressure. Quiet people get ignored, and being ignored is often the safest place to be. Even inside your own group, quiet strength stabilizes everyone else. It keeps arguments mild, prevents panic from spreading, and gives the group a sense of direction without shouting commands. This rule isn't about personality type, it's about behavior. You can be an extrovert and still practice quiet strength. You can be talkative, but not disruptive. The idea is simple. Crises amplify whatever energy you project. Loudness becomes chaos. Quiet becomes stability. And stability is survival. Number 43. Don't fix what isn't broken. This sounds obvious, but people violate this rule constantly. Stress makes you tinker with things that don't need tinkering. You feel pressure to do something, so you start reorganizing gear that was already organized. You take apart tools that were working fine. You run tests on equipment you don't need. You open containers you should keep closed. Every unnecessary action increases the chance of a mistake, a spill, a break, a misplacement. And in survival, mistakes are expensive. One lost lighter, one ripped tarp, one spilled bottle of clean water can change your entire trajectory. The rule means doing maintenance only when needed, not constantly. It means resisting the urge to overhaul things that are functioning. It means keeping the protective seal on a supply until the moment you actually need it. And yes, it means letting imperfect things stay imperfect. You don't need a perfect shelter. You need a working shelter. You don't need a perfect storage layout. You need a functional one. You don't need to fix every little annoyance. Over-focusing on small problems is often a way of avoiding the big ones. Survival favors the person who knows when to leave things alone. Number 44. Food psychology matters more than food variety. In prepping communities, you'll hear endless debates about which foods to store. Beans versus rice, freeze-dried versus canned, high fat versus high carb. But here's the silent truth. What keeps you eating in a crisis is not variety, it's predictability. Your body can tolerate bland, simple food far better than your emotions can tolerate uncertainty. Survival isn't a cooking show, it's routine fuel. If you know exactly what you'll eat each day, in what quantity, and at what time, your stress drops dramatically. Predictable meals reduce the mental load of, "What should I eat?" They reduce cravings, impulsive overeating, and rationing mistakes. They reduce the emotional highs and lows that come from irregular meals. And they help you stretch your supplies far longer than someone who eats when hungry. Hunger is not an emergency. It's a signal your brain can learn to interpret calmly. Predictable meals teach discipline and stabilize your mood. Here's another overlooked factor: the emotional comfort of familiar foods. Even cheap items like oatmeal, crackers, peanut butter, canned soups, or rice dishes create psychological relief. They feel normal, and feeling normal is worth a lot when the world feels anything but normal. Your survival food doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to be something you can eat every day without stress. Number 45. Micro skills beat macro plans. A prepper can spend years designing a perfect bug-out plan, a perfect home defense system, or a perfect storage layout. But tiny practical skills outperform big, complicated plans every time. Micro skills are those small, everyday abilities that reduce friction in a crisis. Things like finding leaks by smell or sound, adjusting knots with cold hands, conserving batteries by instinct, spotting signs of fatigue in group members, packing a bag quickly and neatly in low light, opening cans without a can opener using safe improvisation, securing a door without making noise, moving through a dark room without stumbling, managing stress breathing. These skills don't look like much, but they shave minutes off tasks, prevent accidents, save energy, and keep you from panicking when something small goes wrong. Most plans fail because people assume conditions will be perfect. Micro skills succeed because they operate under real-world conditions: darkness, fatigue, cold, stress, noise, interruptions. A perfect plan can collapse when one tool breaks. A person with micro skills can adapt no matter what breaks. Which one survives? The one who can function when everything is inconvenient. Number 46. The rule of steady hands. When everything is falling apart, the person with steady hands becomes the anchor. Not literally steady, though that helps, but emotionally stable, measured, deliberate. Steady hands don't rush. They don't tremble during decisions. They don't let fear take over their actions. They slow things down just enough to avoid chaos without making themselves vulnerable. Think of steady hands as the opposite of frantic hands. Frantic hands drop items, make noise, break things, rush conversations, misread signs, forget details. Steady hands save time by using less energy and making fewer mistakes. They also calm everyone around them. When one person in a group acts steady, the whole group mimics it. When one person panics, panic spreads like fire. Steady hands keep tools sharp, keep supplies organized, keep the shelter stable, keep the schedule consistent, keep behavior predictable. Training steady hands is easy, but requires intention. Practice slow breathing, deliberate motions, careful handling of objects, conscious decision-making. The person with steady hands sets the emotional tone of the entire survival environment, and this advantage can't be overstated. Number 47. Protect your morning. In survival, the first 60 minutes of your day are the most important. That's when your brain is the sharpest, your body is the most rested, and your mental state is the most balanced. A chaotic morning creates a chaotic day. A stable morning creates a stable day. This rule means establishing a consistent morning process that prepares your mind and body without consuming a lot of resources. You check your surroundings quietly. You check your supplies. You drink water first before doing anything else, because hydration affects thinking more than hunger does. You stretch your joints, even lightly. Stiffness leads to injuries later. You make a simple plan for the day, even if that plan is extremely small. And most importantly, you avoid unnecessary conversations, unnecessary tasks, and unnecessary movement until your mind has settled into the day. The mistake people make is rushing out in panic the moment they wake up. They waste energy. They overlook warning signs. They break routine. They burn themselves out before the day even begins. Protect your morning like it's a resource. Because it is. Number 48. Protect your night even more. If the morning sets the tone, the night preserves your strength. The rule of protecting your night means not letting anything disrupt the critical hours when your brain resets and your body repairs itself. Fatigue hides behind adrenaline. People think they're fine because they're alert, but after 24-48 hours without proper sleep cycles, humans become clumsy, emotional, forgetful, and accident-prone. And accidents in survival are dangerous. The trick to protecting your night is reducing emotional stimulation before sleep. Even in crisis conditions, your brain needs a small window of mental calm, a ritual that tells your nervous system to slow down. That could be organizing your gear, journaling, stretching, dimming your light, or simply sitting still. Protecting your night also means not engaging in unnecessary risky tasks after dark. Most injuries, falls, and noise mistakes happen when visibility is low. You move less at night, not more. You don't cook heavy meals unless absolutely necessary. You don't reorganize storage. You don't do repairs unless urgent. You simply settle. Even the best food, gear, and training cannot fix chronic exhaustion. Rest is your most irreplaceable resource. Number 49. Stay smaller than the problem. This rule is more philosophical, but it's one of the most practical for long-term survival. When people face a big crisis, they often try to match its energy. They panic in the same scale as the problem. A huge disaster makes them think they need huge reactions, huge movements, huge changes. But the people who survive don't scale themselves to the size of the crisis. They scale themselves down. They shrink the problem into manageable pieces. They don't think, how do I survive the whole emergency? They think, how do I stay safe today? They don't think, how will I find food for 3 months? They think, what can I eat right now? They don't think, how do I save everything I own? They think, what do I actually need to keep? Staying smaller than the problem means refusing to let the crisis dominate your mind. It means focusing only on the next necessary action. It means reducing the world to the tasks you can actually control. Big disasters overwhelm big strategies, but small consistent actions build a path through them. You never let your mind grow bigger than your energy. You stay small, focused, grounded, and that makes you far harder to break. Number 50. Survival is a story you tell yourself. The final silent rule is the most overlooked. Your internal narrative determines whether you keep going or give up. Everything you experience is filtered through the story you tell yourself about what's happening. People who survive don't tell themselves, this is impossible. They don't tell themselves, I'm doomed. They don't tell themselves, there's nothing I can do. They tell themselves stories of capability, stories of progress, stories of purpose. They turn every challenge into a task rather than a disaster. They turn every failure into information rather than punishment. They see survival not as a test of strength, but as a sequence of solvable problems. Your internal story shapes your behavior, your patience, your focus, your emotional control, your resilience, your discipline. A strong internal story keeps your mind from collapsing under pressure. It keeps your actions steady, even when the world feels unstable. It reminds you why you are fighting, why you are enduring, and why you are refusing to break. When people say, mindset is everything, this is what they mean. Not motivation, not positivity, but the narrative you choose to live inside. Survival begins in the mind long before it happens in the world, and the story you tell yourself is the foundation of everything else you do.